Hola, hola, amiga. Are you a busy mama struggling to find time for fitness? And have you ever wondered how to balance our cultural expectations with your personal health goals? I get it. I can definitely relate. In today's episode, we welcome Vanessa Flores, who is a fitness trainer and coach owner of the Strong Fit Life and founder of Kettlebell Kickstart, an online high-touch customized fitness program. Vanessa is a mom of two little ones, and her passion is to help busy moms get stronger both physically and mentally to get through the tough times in life, who want to simplify getting stronger and healthier so that they are able to do the fun stuff and not so fun stuff, all while keeping up with their kids. In today's episode, we discuss Vanessa's personal journey with body image and extreme dieting, exploring how fitness has transformed her life. And our conversation delves into the unique challenges Latina moms face in prioritizing their health, and Vanessa offers practical workout tips for busy mamas. We also touch on mindful eating, incorporating traditional Latino foods into a balanced diet, and the mental resilience gained through strength training. Vanessa shares more about her program that is designed to help mamas integrate fitness into their busy lives. Learn more as we chat with Vanessa. Tune in as we chat with Vanessa Flores, fitness trainer and mom of two, who's cracked the code on staying strong while juggling life's demands. So tune in as we chat with Vanessa Flores and discover how a simple 20-minute workout might just be the key to transforming your body and mind. Are you ready to kickstart your journey to a stronger, healthier you? Well, listen to my conversation with Vanessa Flores. Welcome to the Viva la Mami podcast. I am your host, Jessica Cuevas. I am a mother of two on a mission to help redefine the meaning of motherhood as a modern Latina mom. Motherhood can be a complex journey, interwoven in two identities that often make us feel ni de aquí ni de allá. Viva la Mami is committed to providing you with knowledge, tools, and support to navigate the challenges and triumphs of motherhood as Latina moms. On the show, we'll be discussing culturally relevant topics that will help inform and empower you in whichever season you are in on your motherhood journey. We'll be joined by Latina moms, experts and professionals who can offer advice, practical tips, relatable stories, and honest conversations. So bring your cafecito as I invite you to be a part of this space as we create comunidad about the exciting and challenging parts of being a mommy. Ahora, vámonos. Hola, hola, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. It's so good to see you again.
Same. I'm excited. It's been a while.
Yes. I met you at Mom 2.0 back in the spring, and I think I just happened to sit at the table for breakfast, and then we started to talk, and we just have so many connections. We're both Chicagoans and Latinas, and I immediately fell for your mission about fitness and just how you can represent us as well in this specific sort of area. So I was like, I need to bring Vanessa here on the podcast to get real and deep about, how we can practice having a fitness life, especially as Latinas. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate
thanks
it.
for the opportunity. I appreciate it as well.
Yes. So before we delve into the conversation, if you can introduce yourself, if you can tell our listeners who you are and why you created this platform of yours.
My name is Vanessa Flores. I am originally born and raised in Chicago around the Berwyn-Cicero area. And my parents are from Argentina. And I have two little ones, a 4-year-old and one that just turned 7. And
happy birthday.
Yeah. And really my passion with fitness has come from growing up. It was all about body image and self-esteem. And I always saw my sister and my mom on diets, and that's all I knew. I never really learned healthy habits. Fitness wasn't really a thing in my house, you know, and even throughout my whole family, all of us have like bad relationship with food just because of, growing up that way. And as I, got older, I went to college. I started taking like kinesiology and nutrition classes. And that's where I was like, oh my gosh, I fell in love. But I took it to I was obsessed. Like I started working out, elliptical an hour, weightlifting an hour, totally
Oh my gosh.
restricted. Like I didn't eat any fat, anything like carbs because I was like afraid. So, I was chasing the skinny and I got there. Got a size 0, but I wasn't any happier. I wasn't more like toned or muscle because I wasn't fueling my body. And I had to go to the doctor and I lost my menstrual cycle. Just all these things started happening inside. So they were like, you need to introduce fats back into your body. So I did. But then when I did, my body was like craving it. And I went the total extreme in binging and eating just out of like tubs of peanut butter to the point that I was like so sick. And I would have to make myself throw up because I was so uncomfortable. So that's where my
Mm.
relationship with food was in the tank. And I didn't know how to balance. I didn't know how to process my feelings. So all I did was eat to shut down any emotion, any feelings, because you can't cry, you can't complain, can't show any of that. Everything is fine and peachy
Mm.
and perfect. And I
Mhm.
got a really bad depression, as I would sleep 14 hours. I felt horrible. I wasn't happy. And I'm like, I can't live in these extremes. Right. So I started to seek out help.
Yeah.
And I started to learn about intuitive eating and mindful eating and regaining that relationship with food and viewing it more as fuel versus as the enemy.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
fitness, it wasn't about punishing myself or like, getting skinny. It was about feeling empowered, feeling strong, feeling great from the inside to out. And where it's really like your
Mm.
outlet to kind of have clarity. You can kind of like express your emotions through workouts. So many people like cry because it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. You know what I mean? And as I went into motherhood, everything is just chaotic, and life
Mhm.
happens all in all over and over. I lost my job. My business was shut down due to legal things. My dad had 2 terminal illnesses, driving back and forth to Chicago for 2 years, took, emotional, physical toll, all of it. I had a newborn. It was like everything like fell on top of me.
Mm.
And the only thing that really helped me get through all of that was fitness. I always still carved
Mm.
that little bit of time for myself. And that's where I was like, you know what? I'm like, moms need this. We put everybody else's
Yeah.
needs in front of ours. We make sure everybody is okay except for
Yeah.
ourselves. And it's like we end up drowning. And on the outside, we look happy and that everything is fine. On the inside, we're like crying and dying and suffering, you know? And I was
Mhm.
like, fitness doesn't have to be extreme. Fitness doesn't have to be
Yeah.
restrictive. The workouts don't have to be punishing. It's just about making like what makes you feel good. You know, it can be
Yeah.
simple. I think we complicate it way too much in our minds. And,
Yep.
everybody has a different reason why they want to be healthy. And what does healthy mean to you? That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I created, Kettlebell Kickstart and really want to bring out that message and really like redefine what fitness and health, really is.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that maybe it can be
Mhm.
triggering for you, to just kind of talk about this. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability as well. But I think that many will be able to relate to your
Mhm.
story in terms of that extreme dieting, that extreme, fitness, and how it could be good, but to a certain
Mhm.
extent. Same thing with
Mhm.
overeating, right? And for me, for example, like I didn't necessarily grew up in a way where, well, I guess I didn't grow up where fitness was like kind of like at the
Mhm.
forefront, right? It's always assumed that, as Latinas, you just give in, you please
Yep.
everyone, you like, and how you said, we
put ourselves last. And so we don't get to prioritize really what our
Okay.
needs are. But what those needs could be, I mean, I feel like as growing up and seeing the women in my family, there is no one that I know who
Yeah.
exercises. Like that hasn't been
Yeah.
modeled for me. And then there are these issues in my family, you know, with
Yeah.
diabetes and high blood
Yeah.
pressure and all of those conditions that unfortunately is very true to many Latino
Yep.
households. And part of me, I'm like, well, why aren't we doing something about
Mm-hmm.
it? Right? Why are we just like sitting down and complain about us, our bodies, you know, the fact that we have all of these health conditions, but in reality we're not doing something
Yep.
about this. And now that I'm being thoughtful about me as a mom and how I want to model this to my kids, I'm like, okay, now I have a big
Yeah.
responsibility, you know, to do something. And this doesn't have to be like hardcore working out, because also we need to be
Mm-hmm.
realistic about what our current season of life
Absolutely.
is and how much capacity you
Mm-hmm.
have. So yeah. So like this brought to like a question that I have, like what are some of the unique challenges that Latina moms face when it comes to prioritizing their health and fitness? Because I feel like that is kind of tied in with what you said. Yeah.
I think as Latinas, we just have that ingrained as us as like the mom is does everything. The mom cooks, the mom cleans, the mom takes care of the kids, the mom, you know, does all the things, but yet we're supposed to be like the superwoman and not let anything affect us, right? And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like even if we're working Latina moms, we're still expected to be a stay at home mom and a working mom. So now you're
Yep.
adding extra stress and responsibilities, and everything feels like it's landing on your shoulders. And it's like you can't breathe. And it's like, I'm trying. And then it's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for my kids. I'm not good enough for my husband. I'm not good enough as a, you know, at work or at home. My house is messy because everything just has to be prim and proper and perfect. And that's just not
Mm-hmm.
realistic. And maybe our moms growing up, they like just accepted it. And they were just like, this is my role. This is what I'm supposed to do. And
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of went complacent into that, where I think our generation now is like, no, I want more than that. Like, I want
Yeah.
to feel good. I want my spouse to help me. Like, he's a dad just as much as I'm a mom. He works just as much as I
Right.
do, you know? So really instilling that and knowing that us as Latina moms, it's okay. It's okay to want that. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to have conversations with your husband and be like, look, I'm feeling like crap. I want to feel better. Maybe you guys plan out, you know, Mondays and Wednesdays, just give me 20 minutes, you know, so he knows, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
mommy's time, you know, and it's going to take a while
Yeah.
to get there. The kids are going to want mommy. The kids are going to want to be in there. And, you know, just like you said,
Yes.
like we're in a different season of life. So our expectations can't be what we think we, you know, have to do like when we were 20. Right. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're going to be like, mommy, mommy, I got them in, mommy, mommy, you know? So just pick them
Yes.
up and do squats with them. You know what I mean? Like, or do sit
Right.
ups with them. My kids we were laughing, having fun, you know? Your workouts might not
Yeah.
look exactly as planned, but that's okay, you
Right.
know? And I think that's really hard for Latina moms to accept and, or to like really
Mhm.
change, you know? But I really think we
Yeah.
want that change and we want to do it. We just
Yes.
don't know how, or we don't feel empowered enough to say, this is what I want. This is what I need.
Right. And we definitely don't see those examples specifically in the space of
Mm-hmm.
motherhood. You know, you don't see, honestly, you're one of the few people who are Latinas and who are who's a fitness expert. And I'm like, why isn't there
Mm-hmm.
more, you know? And so if we don't see that, it makes it very difficult for us to actually believe that we
Yeah,
could essentially prioritize our, you know, on ourselves in that way. So,
absolutely.
yeah. And what would you say are some of the common misconceptions about fitness that you have encountered within the Latino community or Latina moms in
So
general?
I feel like everybody, when they think about fitness, they think about the end, like they have to be at the end versus at the start, I feel like
Mm.
they think, oh my gosh, tengo que ir a correr. You don't have to go run. You could go walk. They feel like lifting weights is not for women, like lifting weights will bulk me up. I don't want to look manly, like my mom used to always say when she lifted, oh, be careful, cuidado, cuidado, que te vas a hacer mal. I'm like, what? Like I'm okay. Can lift heavy things. And so I feel like those are a lot of misconceptions that Latina, just growing up, like our moms. I remember my husband's grandma when I would be like, we're going to go, work out. She's like, women don't work out. Women don't
Mm.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, they do. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, I feel like you think you need an hour long workout. I think that people think they have to cut out all their favorite foods, especially our Latin cuisines, in order to get
Yep.
healthy and fit, which is not the case. You can enjoy your favorite foods. You can
Mm.
get a 10-minute walk in, A lot of people forget that it's just kind of like a piggy bank, right? Every time you put a quarter, it just keeps filling up. So every little 10 minutes
Mm.
that we do, every little meal that we eat, it's like you're making little deposits. And over time, the piggy bank is going to fill up and you're going to get healthier and feel better.
That's a really great example of, envisioning, how this process looks like. And for me, like I've always struggled with setting those like goals because I wanted to get to the end and I wanted to just see the
Mm-hmm.
results from one day to
Yep.
the next. And that is part of the frustration that I feel like many of us have who want to get fit. And fit, it means like healthy, having a balanced life, having a balanced routine that works for you. But yeah, like I feel like many of us just want to get to the end and not necessarily really holding on to like the present and being present in the
Yep.
process too. And it's very interesting. I hear where oftentimes, like in the start of a new year,
Yes.
you set these fitness goals and all of that. And then, yeah, you go to the gym or you start setting this regimen. And by the second week, though, everything stops. And I think it's because we're so infatuated with trying to get to the
Yep.
end. I don't know if you have any thoughts about
Yeah.
that.
So when people start making New Year's resolutions and, like this time is going to be it. Like when you ask them for their goal, they want to lose like 30 pounds in a month, which is unrealistic. They want to do 10 things instead of getting good at just one thing and adding on top of that. So I feel like people put way too much expectations on what they can do. Like you said, what capacity we have in this season of life. And it's like, yeah, you can maybe sustain it for like 2 weeks, but then life happens. We always say there's a season of rainbows where things are going really good and then a storm comes in and it like knocks you off your feet and then you forget everything that you did, where instead is learning how to navigate through those storms because they're going to keep coming, right? So
Yeah.
instead of making that long list of I'm going to drink water, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to work out 4 days a week, I'm going to go to bed early, like instead of listing like all these things that, yes, you want to eventually be able to do, but people start with too much and want to like overhaul their lifestyle right away instead of just picking one thing to change, get really good at it. And then once that feels like it's part of your day and now this is who I am, then add another thing. And we always say, like, even if you reach your goal, you can't not keep working on it, right? Because if you don't, you're going to go back to where you were. So it's like, it's a lifetime thing. It's even if you lose your 30 pounds in whatever date you gave yourself, once you reach that, you got to maintain it, So trying to get like that deadline or that like instant gratification, like, Our bodies aren't Amazon. You're not going to get it delivered at your doorstep. You know?
That's another great example. Yeah, and it makes so much sense. Yeah, and I think it's all about how we perceive fitness. And again, if we don't have the representation,
Yep.
first of all, as Latina moms, and we were and if we weren't modeled that fitness should be a part of a lifestyle, really, a positive lifestyle, it does make it really hard to envision yourself and literally set those real, kind of goals. And so, when it comes to Latina moms who are wanting to start, their fitness journey or what have you, like what advice do you have for them, especially the ones who feel guilty with mom guilt about taking time for themselves? Like, what would you say to that?
So remember, if you want to be the role model for your kids to have healthy habits, then they have to see it happening. You can say it all you want, but if they don't see you doing it, they're not going to do it, right? So if that's your goal, to be a role model, then it's like you're investing in your family, right? Instead of like feeling guilty for taking time for yourself. You're actually taking the time to learn something new for you. You're taking the time to teach your kids how to do it. So instead of looking at it as something that's being taken away, like time or, which is basically time away from your kids, instead it's you're investing in them. Because if you don't learn it and you don't know how to do it, you can't teach it. You can't be the role model for it, right? So instead of looking at it as a negative, and your kids, like, they don't care if you have 6-pack abs. They don't care about what your body looks like. They just want you to be able to play with them. And if you can't, because you get out of breath, because you're so out of shape, or, that's when they're like, oh man, like that was fun for like 2 minutes, And so if you think of it kind of in that sense, just reframing, why you want to do it, and really understanding why. It's not just about losing weight. It affects all aspects of your life. You're more confident in yourself. You're more patient with your kids. You're more present with your kids, So I think thinking it that way instead of feeling guilty, and it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen them all day. I don't want to take 20 more minutes for myself. It's just like, those 20 minutes are okay. The kids are going to be okay, and they're going to remember the fun times that you were able to play with them, not the 20 minutes that you weren't there because you were working on yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And like for me, for example, I am now focusing on, setting healthy habits and everything, because I felt like I was postpartum for a very long time. And so now that I have the capacity, I'm like, okay, now I want to set a routine that better fits me, and for my kids to also see that, because I didn't grow up anyone in my family work out, right? And I want to set those, like, I want to be a good example for them that it's important to move your body. And so I'm currently at home and doing these 20-minute workouts. And the other day, my 3-year-old started to cry. He's like, "Mami, no quiero que hagas eso." And I'm like, wow, it might be because he's not familiar with this yet. And so my hope is to like get him comfortable to see me do this, because it is so helpful for them to see like, oh, mommy's working out, like she's moving. And then the little one, the 1-year-old, he's just like going on top of me. So he's just doing little goat yoga, So I have two different, variances here, but I think that it helps a lot when you get to like prioritize on yourself, and your family and your kids get to see that, and you essentially get to experience it all. So, you shared about the importance of having short workouts because we are all busy moms. Can you share what these exercises look like that busy moms can incorporate into their daily routines? That way they don't feel like they have to spend a full hour at the gym or what have you.
The biggest thing, I think the most traditional that people think about is like that bodybuilding style of workout. Like you do one day back, one day legs, one day arms, one day this. And it takes way too much time. You don't have the time to dedicate for all of that. And it takes longer to see the results. Where instead it's like combining exercises where you're using your whole body at the same time. So let's say, you're doing squats. Okay. So you're doing squats. And then if you add a press, right? So squat and then press. So now you're using your whole body, right? Lunges with bicep curls, push-ups are great. Even if you can't do knee push-ups, you should elevate yourself. Maybe you start on the wall and then you lower yourself little by little as you get stronger. But the more that you can encompass your whole body in the movements or the exercises, the more benefit and efficient it's going to be for the time crunch that we have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm sure people never thought of it that way. Like I remember when back before I got married, I like lost a lot of weight just so that I can fit in that dress. And I got this like workout video specifically for brides. And the saying was, if the dress don't fit, that means you quit. And I'm just like, and now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, this is so toxic. But I remember like I had to schedule my leg day and like my arms day and all of these things. And yeah, maybe at that time, perhaps I did have the capacity to be at the gym for an hour, but here I am now. Like I obviously didn't set, a healthy kind of routine, right? Where, if I known about quick 20-minute workouts that you can do at home, maybe I would have just like continued on, But yeah, I think that is very interesting how people think that or believe that they should set a specific day, to dedicate on a specific body part. But yeah, as busy moms, that's not realistic. So when it comes to like physical strength, like how does that translate to mental health? Because there's a lot of connection with at least what I've read, done my research. I do my research, Vanessa. But what I've noticed is that, once you start this fitness journey, it essentially can affect like your mental health in a more positive way. And you literally mentioned that as well, you become a happy mom. But if you can further delve into that and perhaps give us some examples from your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So what strength training does for you is it proves to you that you can do hard things. In life, we are challenged and faced with a lot of hard things. And it gives you that mental grit, that mental perseverance, that mental like push through the times that you feel like you can't do it, right? Or you feel so stuck. And then you do, something with strength training. You're like, oh my gosh, I just did that. I can never do that, right? And specifically one of our clients, a couple of our clients recently have told us, they're like, I was going for that physical strength, that physical, like fit look. She's like, I never knew the mental strength that it would give me. Like she lost her job. And it wasn't her choice. And that's a hard thing to accept. And that's a hard thing to try to get through. And she was like, I never really realized it would help me have that mental strength to get through that patch of life. Another client recently said the same thing, like it gives me the strength to do the fun things and it gives me the strength to do the not so fun things.
So like resilience. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And when I think about, so I feel like that's more so like that can lead you into having mental resilience, right? But when you're starting off, and I think our brain likes to mess around with us, right? Because you have the intention of working out. You say, okay, I'm going to leave my workout clothes, by my bedside because in the morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to work out, right? But then, and this happens to me a lot where that is the goal, but then it's not achieved because then my brain tells me, oh, but instead of working out, you could be doing X, Y, Z, and then I end up not working out because I find that I should probably prioritize on loading the dishes or getting the kids breakfast ready or what have you. And so when you're trying to tell yourself like, oh, this is what I want to do, but then at the end of the day, you don't achieve it. Like, how can we train our brains to just get us to do it, right? And prioritize our fitness
That's
goals.
very common. It is hard. It's a habit. It's a habit, and you need to change a habit, and it's hard to change it. Remember, our bodies and our brains, they always want to protect us. So whatever feels comfortable, they're going to go straight to that, right? If you're trying to do something new and push it to do something else, they're like, wait, whoa, what are you doing? Like, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel comfortable. But just, I always say, like, if you if you set your alarm to wake up at a certain time to work out, do not hit snooze. Because the minute you just let your mind say 5 more minutes, or the minute you say, oh, I'm still so tired, it's done. It's over with. And the more that you do it, right? So there's a thing like you commit to do something, right? Okay. So if you commit to do something, things aren't going to go as planned, right? Like you set your clothes out. That's you're committing, right? You didn't do it.
Yeah.
Recommit. It's all about recommitting. I always think about our kids. I mean, how many times every single day, 150 times a day, do we have to tell them to go brush their teeth? I fight with my kids every day. Brush your teeth. You brush them in the morning. You brush them at night. Brush your teeth. You brush them in the morning. You brush them at night. And you just keep enforcing it and keep at it until they know, okay, in the morning I brush my teeth. In the night I brush my teeth. And it's the same thing with fitness. Like the more we tell ourselves, no, I committed to this, I'm going to do this. The dishes, it's okay if it sits there for a few more minutes, the kids' breakfast, they're going to eat. You're not going to let them starve, So the more that you can just remind yourself that you want this and why do you want it? Like it has to be a deeper why than just appearance, right? And telling to yourself, is this decision getting me closer to, the person I want to be, the body I want, or to my old me? You know what I mean? So it's like really coaching yourself through it, right? And really, I always think the toothbrush, keep doing it, keep pushing it, keep recommitting every single day. They say that with marriage. Like you married, but you recommit every day,
That's so true. That is so true. Yeah. Yeah. And thanks for sharing that, because I think many of us, like, we want to start a new fitness goals and we want to have this new life where it's more positive and realistic as well. But I think it definitely takes a lot from our part to commit to doing this. Like if we really want to be intentional, we have to set that time and it's 20 minutes, right? So like when I really think about in 20 minutes, I could literally be scrolling on social media and not, the time is endless. And then it makes it so hard to like commit to 20 minutes and working out. And I think it's a lot of brain power that we need to train our brains to like see it in a different perspective. Like even like the toothbrush example that you provided. So like and make that be a part of your lifestyle.
Yeah. And don't think of it like, oh, I gotta go do this now. You know what I mean? Like it's so dreadful. It's an extra chore. But, don't think like, oh my gosh, it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. Do something that you enjoy. Do something that, as long as you move your bodies, you're happy. Endorphins are going to, come up and be more present. So do something that makes you feel good. And like when you go into a workout and you're not feeling it that day, that's okay. Like just do as much as be like, okay, you know what? Today I'm just going to do what feels good. Yeah. And we always talk about like the workouts. There's 30% are going to be like, I crushed it. That was awesome. 30% are going to be like, that was good. And then 30% are going to be like, okay, that really sucked, but at least they just showed up,
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it always has to be that 30% of crushing it. And it's like, no, like it's going to ebb and flow. You're going to get stuck for a little bit, but you got to push through it and you'll get past, that point. But the more we can do it, the more we show up, the more we, recommit, the more it's going to be a part of who we are and what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And so what strategies do you recommend for moms to stay consistent with their fitness goals despite those busy schedules?
So you have to first define what consistency means to you. It's not 7 days a week. Maybe it's 3 days. I feel like a lot of people think consistency is like daily. And if you don't hit it daily, then you're not consistent. And it's like we always tell our clients, give yourself a baseline, like a minimum. You know what? If life is hard, if something's going on, my base minimum is to go walking 2 days a week. Like, or getting at least 2 out of the 4 workouts in. That's like my baseline, right? So maybe consistency to you is 70% right now. Maybe consistency to you is 60%. That's okay. Remember that, piggy bank, you're making all those deposits, right? And instead of thinking all or nothing, I'm going to do it all or nothing, we have a motto of saying doing all or something, right? So if you can't do it all, do something, right? That something is better than nothing.
Nothing.
Right? And even if it's like, I don't know how to work out, I don't know where to start, walk. Walking is so underrated on how beneficial it is for your body, for your mind, all of it. So I know a lot of people is like, where do I start? I've never weights before. Walk. Start walking. Like I said, get really good at walking. Maybe it's twice. You start off 10 minutes. That's all you got. Great. Do it, And I think too, this is what I was going to say before, recognizing where you are in that season of life and how you said, your postpartum dragged on or you felt like you were in it for a while. We have to, our mental capacity has to be there as well, right? So giving yourself grace during those moments and being like, I'm going to get through this. It's okay. I'm going to do the best that I can, whatever that looks like. And I know there's going to be a point where I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm going to do what I can for now. And when this season goes, like you said, now you're ready. Now you're ready to kind of, focus on yourself and that's okay. And I think that's what I feel like the biggest message is like, you don't have to do everything perfect and that's okay.
Yes. Yes. Oh, thanks for sharing that. I think that is very reassuring, especially coming from you. And, for many of us who oftentimes give up because we have specific expectations about what this looks like, but we have to definitely recognize our season of life and give ourselves grace. And I love that. I love that you shared that. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. And, when it comes to having this whole fitness journey, right? And how we can either bring back a fitness lifestyle or continue on with it. One of the things that I have found, at least like on social media, is just like the bad reputation that our foods as Latinos have, and even the doctors, they say, oh, how many tortillas did you eat? And I'm like, that's very biased because we hardly eat tortillas.
Yeah.
Like, it's very stereotypical here. And so, for us who identify and who obviously are immersed in our culture, who love our cuisine, how does nutrition really play in creating this fitness journey, but also, how can we create a healthy balance with our traditional foods también?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say you have to live life. You're not gonna, and it's funny because people think eating healthy is going on a diet when eating healthy should be the normal thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have, pizza, I have empanadas with my kids and, I'm going to do that. No one's going to tell me not to, and it's like, a lot of it is not so much what exactly you're eating. And again, you have to figure out where you are in your journey. If you're just starting, it's like, instead of exactly what you're eating, like how much of it are you eating, or what are you putting in addition that doesn't really, need to be in there? It still tastes really good, So where you are in your fitness journey, it's like, if you're just starting and you're just wanting to, make a little bit of changes, I would say, like, try to, it's hard, right? But you have to, like, I always say, when you have a plate and you fill it up, whatever it is, eat half, put your fork down, chit chat with your kids, with your spouse, drink a little bit of water, give yourself about 3 to 5 minutes, and then ask yourself silently, you're like, am I still hungry? If you are, eat another fourth, and then again, put your fork down, chit chat a little bit, enjoy, and then ask yourself again, am I really hungry? And if it's no, it's okay to not eat everything on your plate. Like, just put it away, save it if you don't want to throw out your food. And later, when you get hungry again, now you have something to eat, and you're not like scrambling for whatever you find in the pantry. Right.
Right.
And then if you're kind of further along in your journey, it's like, what kind of little simple swaps can you make? Like, I love the Siete brand. Have you ever heard?
Yes.
They have amazing, like, seasonings, everything. I like their tortillas, but they're not really like our tortillas.
Yeah, they're not the same. No. I like them for quesadillas, but other than that, I need my milagro.
Yeah, tortillas. So I'm in Tennessee right now. We live in Tennessee. And anytime anyone comes down, we're like, bring us a box of milagro tortillas.
They don't sell it there?
They do, but they use a different corn because it comes from Georgia. So it just doesn't taste the same.
It's not the same. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, you're going to enjoy the foods, right? But it's about that balance, Yes. Maybe you're eating a lot of fried things. Add some veggies to it. Eat some fruit, like, the more, nutritious, and think about too, like, is this fueling my body or is it not? Am I just eating it, just to eat it? And I always say, I don't not eat anything. I don't I'm going to go out, I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to, have ice cream with my kids, but I don't do that every single day. Right. And we say, like, if you say, oh, it's a treat, but you eat it every day, it's not a treat. It's a habit. Because a treat is something you have once in a while. I hope that answered the question.
Yes. No, yeah, it does. And I think we shouldn't just, like, give up our foods también, like, I think it's definitely about incorporating it into a more healthy, like, balanced type meals than, overdoing it too. Because I love mis chiles rellenos, but it's like that can be a treat, like, it's like once in a while, and I don't make them, trust me. I like I said, we don't really make Mexican food because for me it's so intimidating because it's such a process. But whenever we're out with family or when we're visiting my mom, I'm like, ¿me puedes hacer esto? ¿Me puedes hacer el otro? And that's when I get treated, to many of those foods. And I think that we shouldn't give them up just because we are in a fitness journey.
And like you said, like, it's more of what you do versus the occasional things that you do, right? So if you're eating at home, you're cooking your own food, that's going to be so much better than ordering out, right? If at home you try your best to eat, as saludable as you can, and then you go to your aunts or your moms and they have pozole and they have, sopes, and enjoy it, And that's the thing too. I always say, when you're with family, because I know the other thing is that food pushers. Oh, tienes que comer. Mija, ¿quieres más? ¿Quieres más? Oh, no vas a comer. ¿Qué no vas a comer? Like, constant, and just saying, like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Like, just keep saying, I'm good. when you are at that point that you're good,
Right.
I think it's that having that confidence and that feeling empowered that you're not rude. You're not being rude, it's just the more you eat, the worse you're going to feel on the inside. And then you're going to regret that you did that.
Yes. I was going to say, like, I'm sure like guilt comes up if you make those decisions. But it's also, okay, if this happened once, to what point will it be more like routine based, where there's all these like food pushers and you just keep accepting. And then the next party, you're going to keep doing it. Like, to what point can you set those boundaries and limits to yourself?
Right. Yeah. And that's what I say, like that, visual that I gave you of the plate.
Yes.
Like, just keep asking yourself, am I still hungry? If you are, eat. Don't stop eating because you think you need to eat less. Your body's going to tell you, when it's good. But it's about us listening to those cues, because a lot of times we don't, and we just keep eating. And then you're like, oh, I'm so full, But I always say, if you can follow that, just, eat half, ask yourself, am I still hungry? Eat another fourth, ask yourself if you're hungry. You're not going to overeat, and you're going to enjoy any food that's around you, and, being at family, it's like, focus on the memories, focus on mingling, focus on, laughing, focus on conversations versus focusing on the food. I feel like food is focus number one. The, memories, enjoyment is number two. Let's flip that, like, have fun. Maybe you haven't seen a relative in a while. Catch up with them. It doesn't have to be always a plate of food in front of you.
Right. Right. That's so true. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Vanessa, tell us a little bit more about your business, the different services that you offer. I'm very interested to learn more. And if you can share us like a success story from one of your clients and one that would resonate specifically with this audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the owner of the Strong Fit Life and co-founder of the Kettlebell Kickstart program, which is a one-on-one customized program where we really deep dive, learn where you're at right now, your lifestyle, your habits, and we just tweak little by little, small little changes to help you build those sustainable habits. It's an online, program, and we do incorporate fitness, we incorporate food and mindset, and we focus more on it being a skill and you getting better at the skill versus like, here's a workout plan, here's a meal plan. Everybody has different goals. Everybody's in a different season of life. Everybody needs something different, right? So we really hone in on you and customize it for you. So whatever you learn in the program, you can maintain it and do it 5 years from now, 10 years. And then I do have a virtual online fitness program where I go live 4 days a week. That one is more for people that are already kind of in the fitness space and just, either need that little bump in heading through a plateau, or they need that accountability to show up to somebody every day or 4 days a week. So those are the two programs that I offer. Specifically, I'm thinking of one of our clients. She works from home, but now she has to go into the office a couple days a week. She has 2 kids. When she came to us, she was like, I'm so exhausted. She's like, by 8:00, I'm not like exhausted on the couch and I don't have energy to like lift up one more finger. She's like, I have my son, she calls him a beefcake because he's like, little chunky. And she's like, I hold him and my back hurts, like, and he's only going to get bigger and he's only going to want me to hold him more. And she's like, I need something that's flexible. I can't go to a class, but I also need like that accountability. So in our program, she lost 27 pounds. She went down 4 pant sizes. She was on high blood pressure medication and she was able to come off of it. And now she's like I put my kids to bed and I'm like, cleaning up. Like, she's like, I have the energy to keep doing stuff. She's like, my back doesn't hurt anymore. She's like, I can easily toss him up and catch, like, just having that. We go for bike rides now and, stop at 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee and then come back. But she's able to do a lot of this with more ease and more energy versus exhaustion.
Yeah. It's so interesting how when you think that you can't move your body, and then when you do, you can move your body even more.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you get this full energy, like full force of energy after, working out. And I miss that feeling. And I'm just, excited to get back to this like journey, just because I feel like it's not just, I'm not only setting a good example to my kids, but I also want to feel good. I want to carry my kids, right? And I've experienced a lot of pelvic pain and back pain and, unfortunately, as a result of pregnancy and labor. And even though I went to physical therapy, it still hasn't worked. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need to look for ways to condition my body and make it feel a little bit better, because it could affect our health, like our physical health as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I also think of like later on in life, my dad, I don't want to say it was a burden, but it took like a lot of mental and physical toll to take care of him. And I don't want to be that for my kids. I want to be able to have them be happy, and whatever happens, but it's not because I couldn't have prevented it. And I want to see my grandkids. I want to be able to play with my grandkids. My dad, he couldn't. He had an oxygen tank. He would take like 2 steps and get out of breath. And he never really enjoyed my kids because I had the youngest. And it was really, hard to see, not hurtful like but it was hard to see that because you want them to embrace, their grandparent. So it's not only about now, it's about later on as well. Because what you do now is how you're going to live your last 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and giving that perspective. I'm sure people are going to be like, whoa, that's deep. And I think it adds perspective. Well, I have one last question for you that I didn't share, but I do ask my guests as a surprise kind of question. How are you redefining motherhood?
So for me, redefining motherhood is do the hell we want to do. Like stop thinking about what you can't do. Think about what you can do. Motherhood is being strong, is being there for everyone and for yourself. You can't have both. It's about asking for the help when you need it, standing up for yourself when you have to. I feel like we shy away and we just close our mouths and don't say anything. And it's like, we have to be able to have that voice and that power. Just because we're moms doesn't mean we're any less than anyone else.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. We're powerful.
Yes. Super powerful.
We're super powerful. Yeah. I love it. Yes. Well, Vanessa, where can people find you, connect with you, if you can share them where they can go and be a part of your community?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, The Strong Fit Life. On Facebook, I'm Vanessa Magnani, which is my maiden name. It's MUGNAINI.Flores.
Great. Yes. And I'll make sure to share all of that in the show notes, and that way they can connect with you. And well, Vanessa, thank you so much for being here. I think what you shared is definitely going to reassure many mamas that, even though we're very busy and we feel like this is impossible, it can be possible. The sky is the limit. And just like that analogy of adding that coin in that piggy bank, it's just the same way. We're building blocks. Like we are literally building blocks to like creating a more healthy, balanced fitness journey. And so thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.
mujer, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to the Viva la Mami podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, will you do me a favor and follow the podcast and leave a rating and review? Hitting that follow button and reviewing my show will allow other mommies like you find this podcast. Your review will also tell me if you enjoy the show, so I would truly appreciate your thoughts. Don't forget, please share this podcast con tus amigas. Also, make sure to follow me at Viva la Mami on Instagram or visit vivalamami.com. Please note the information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. Okay, mujer, thank you for joining y nos vemos in the next episode.